What is up, guys? What is wrong with my face? I'm going to get to that in about 1 minute. But before that, we have a new episode on the podcast interviewing Midnight Simon. If you don't know who he is one of the biggest LeetCode streamers on Twitch. He has a very unique background. He works at Google. His background, he kind of spent like the first 2 years where working not in tech. He got a degree in engineering, mechanical engineering. Then he eventually pivoted, learned how to program himself, got into random just programming jobs, traveled around the world, then worked for a startup at around like maybe 5-6 years later. I don't have the exact dates, but then he decided, I want to get a job at Google. He streamed himself studying LeetCode every single day and eventually got the Google job. So he is a Google engineer, and he has said a lot of things on his journey from, effectively getting terrible grades in school to working out, one of the most prestigious companies in the world, actually, at this current moment. So check out the podcast. And before that, I'm going to go into why I have these things on my face. I was in a car accident, like TLDR. My girlfriend was learning how to drive. Got technically wife. So Simon did not know that, but a couple of you guys knew. But I'm married to a Colombian as of like 2 weeks ago. But
congrats.
Thanks. Yeah.
We gotta come to the wedding, man. We gotta have a LeetCode wedding.
Oh yeah. A LeetCode wedding.
In Colombia. What if we all came to Colombia?
True.
To your wedding? Would you invite us?
Is Twitch chat invited? Is Twitch chat invited to my wedding? I mean, Simon's invited, but if you want to know, I mean, that it might be kind of weird because you don't know anybody, but if you want to, sure. I mean, but like,
can't bring
I guess
hello worlds.
Also, wait, actually, before I even say anything, because I need permission, so let me keep my mouth shut. But come on, bro, you gotta invite everybody. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be like some mansion type thing. Anyways, like TLDR on my face is that my girlfriend was wife learning how to drive, and she asked her sister to teach her like outside of classes. Like she's taken 5 classes so far. She asked her sister to teach her, and she like basically made a left turn when we were driving like in a residential area at like 5 miles an hour, and she like made a left turn to left and hit a house, and it was actually over a ditch, so it fell down. And there's actually an article in Colombia about it. Not very big, but
oh man, y'all are famous.
Yeah, I know. They were all like, "Oh my god, like what a shame."
Yeah, dang, that sucks, man. Looks like it was a lot faster than 5 miles per hour, though.
Like I don't know. Like again, I feel like because the one thing that kind of fucked me is that we went over the ditch, so we were driving, and it dipped, and because it dipped, I like lost I was like scared because I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I closed my eyes. And then like 2 seconds later, like I just knew I was just bleeding from my nose. And then like the car was like this, and I just had to like walk out. But like because I closed my eyes, I had no idea when I hit impact. I had no idea like how to prep myself basically. I think I just put my hands out like this, and then
dang.
But like it's like you get prep. I feel like getting prep is good. Like if you know when you're gonna hit the wall, maybe you can like avoid it. I don't know actually. At 5 miles an hour, I don't know, but also the ditch, so maybe it's faster. Who knows?
Dang. So, are you ever gonna drive with her again?
Yeah, no, it's not happening. I don't think she doesn't want to drive right now, actually, at all. She said she's never doing it again. But
oh no,
we'll see. But
dang. Well,
your sister wasn't a good driving teacher. Yeah, but I think that's why they have driving teachers. Yeah, I think that's why. Because like if it was me, I would have probably just whipped. Like I probably like actually grabbed the stupid wheel and like pulled it like once I knew, but I was in the back seat, so I can't control anything. But
so everyone else was like untouched, and just because you're in the back seat with no seatbelt.
Yeah, I didn't have a seatbelt. Yeah, I didn't have a seatbelt, so this is from like not having a seatbelt. If I had a seatbelt, I never would have hit the front of the seat, and I just would have like gotten maybe like a scar like here, like some bruising. But yeah,
man. Beginner drivers are dangerous, man. I know one of my coworkers, they borrowed one of their friends' cars and they went to go take the driving test. And I think in the parking lot, they're trying to reverse,
Jesus,
And
what
she,
the fuck?
or they
Wait,
borrowed the car from their friend too.
this,
It's like,
yeah,
dang.
no. Bro, like, yeah, like, if somebody asked me that and they like didn't know how to drive, even before this, I would have said no. Like, there's no shot. Like, I mean, that said, if you're at Google or something and you've got like a ton of money, like you're like, oh well, whatever. But I don't know. Like, I can't imagine that mindset of just giving someone your car. It's such a
All
bad
right,
experience
man.
for a learner driver to have an accident. Yeah.
Hopefully, no more accidents in the future for you.
Yeah. Anyways, so we can get started with this interview. This was supposed to be about you, but kind of turned into my face. But
No worries. I mean, it's a big change since yesterday.
yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'll get started. So I had like, and I just have like some of these kind of like things generally. So, okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll start it up. Can you tell people like just who you are, about yourself if they don't know who you are?
All right, what's happened, everyone? My name is Midnight Simon. I basically am a nobody, and then I started streaming on Twitch. My LeetCode practice. Never had any FANG experience, not from any Ivy League or anything like that. Don't even have a CS degree, and I just read on Blind that all you got to do is like 500 LeetCode problems to pass an interview. So, and that's what I did. I just turned on Twitch, started practice on Twitch, and I did that for like 5 months straight, and eventually passed an interview. And that's my story. Here I am.
Nice. So, okay, and like is so well one I mean I kind of want to well we'll keep it there and one thing I'm interested in is we're just kind of just what I'm curious about is going through the whole history of like Midnight Simon. Like how did he come to be basically? And so at the start of that, I'm curious, okay, like I know you I think you said on stream that you graduated with like a like basically well in mechanical engineering one, you weren't even programming and then two
Right.
yeah, and then two, your grades were bad. So like, yeah, how do you? I guess what was that like? And I don't know how does that like impact you being like a software engineer and like how did you get into software
Um,
engineering?
I mean, I say my grades are bad, and I'm not lying. My grades are really bad, but I don't think it was because I wasn't capable. My grades are bad because I didn't do my homework and I didn't go to class. So I got like 0% on all my homeworks. I got 0% on all my pop quizzes and stuff like that. I don't care about any dang quizzes
Mm-hmm.
because they're talking about quizzes 10% of your grade. And I'm like, all right. So if I miss every single quiz, I can still pass. And it's talking about homework is 10% of my grade. I'm like, all right. If I miss every single quiz, every single homework, I still got a chance to pass. I just got to do really
Oh
well
my
on the
God.
test. So that's like my strategy. I just never went to school
Wait,
and
what?
I just tried to get like 100% on every single test, which did not happen. So, I mean, I failed a couple classes, but for the most part, I usually got a C or D, but mainly C's. That's
Wait,
like my college experience.
wait. What was your mindset behind like the quizzes don't matter? Like fuck 10%. Or do you know what your mindset was?
Man, my mindset was I can't make it to class. I can't pay attention in class. It's a big struggle. I'm in class. I'm watching the clock and it's just torture. So
Hmm.
I just rather not be there.
Wait, and so like
And
how do
then
you? And how does that work with your? I guess like working now. Like I guess how what clicked? I don't know. What
what
clicked to where like
clicked?
now? Or are you still? I mean, would you still say fuck quizzes or
I mean,
is
if I
that
went back to school, probably not because I'm a little bit older now. But I'd probably try and go to school and take the quizzes. I'd see, like maybe grades are a little bit more important at the time, like to get internships and stuff.
okay?
Back then, I wasn't on that internship thing. I wasn't really on school like that. I was thinking like, they told me once you get this mechanical engineering degree, you're going to get so many jobs, it doesn't even matter. So I was like, all right, all I got to do is pass and my life will be set.
Okay.
And I used to hear everyone say GPA don't matter after your first job. So I was like, all right, like I'm gonna just chill then.
Wait, did that happen though?
And I never got a first job.
Nice based.
Like I never got any mechanical engineering jobs, but no one even ever got to ask me my GPA. So I guess it really didn't matter since I never even made it to that stage where they're asking about my resume or like transcripts
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. I don't even think they do
Um,
that much. Like unless it's for like for new grad stuff. So
yeah. So like I went to a public state school. So I wasn't like a outstanding student in college or anything. Um, but I did good on the tests, that's for sure.
nice.
So I don't know how to interpret that. It's not a very traditional path in college, but there's always like one or two people like that, I'd say, in every class.
Okay. So
So like I couldn't find a job, you know, and I worked in restaurants and stuff for a few years after college
okay.
because I couldn't find a job.
Okay.
And then like in between some restaurant jobs, like that's when I started to learn how to program because I was tired of going into restaurants and trying to make $100 a day, you know.
Yeah.
I was like miserable after a while, and I just needed some more money, man. So I started programming. I
Mhm.
just learned on YouTube how to program, and I was making like bots mostly to do things like affiliate marketing bots, basically spam bots.
Nice.
And that's how I started my journey in programming. That's how I made my first paycheck.
Hmm.
And I did that for a long time, maybe like 7 years.
Okay.
That was like my whole experience. That was like my freelancing experience.
Okay.
Just making bots, you know.
And like what kind of or I guess how'd you get your clients? How'd you get like
I just sent traffic to one agency that accepted. I guess you can call it dirty traffic, you know.
okay.
So they accepted that type of traffic and they paid out for that type of traffic.
Wait, and can you say like how much you made from it or about or you don't have
It
to you don't
varied.
have to if you don't
It's
want.
like I made a percentage of the sales. So like every sale I'd get, I'd make say 15, 20 bucks per sale. And a sale means like the whoever I spammed or whoever I marketed to, they filled out their credit card and they signed up for a trial, like a free 7 day trial. And then if they didn't cancel in the 7 days, they get charged.
Or but I
And it
meant
was
like
maybe they get what's up?
like in the year that you were like working like if in just in 1 year or something that you were working
Right.
or doing like
All right. So I'm just trying to paint the picture here, I guess.
okay.
So like that's how the system works. So you get all these people sign up and it's free trials, but once they sign up for the trial, I get paid out regardless of if they cancel or not. Because I guess
Okay.
they did the math and you know, the average person stays for like 3 months or whatever.
Okay.
Um so every sale I'd get like 15. I start off at like $12. And then because I started sending more and more traffic, I ended maybe around $30 per sale. And how much money did I make doing this? Maybe my best year, probably like 250, maybe something like that. My worst year, maybe like 25, 30K. So it varies a lot, man. Some years
Wait,
are really good.
you made
Some years are not that.
250 as in 250,000?
Yeah, for the year.
Bro, what the fuck? That's crazy. That's
Or
insane.
if you want more accurate, maybe some weeks it was like $20,000 weeks.
That's
And some
crazy.
weeks there's a lot of $0 weeks though. But once you find a method, you hit that shit and it runs so hot and you never know when it's gonna stop. So
That's
it
crazy.
was interesting, but it wasn't very consistent and it got really difficult towards the end because I guess internet security got tighter and like there's no more open-ended unrated endpoints like that, you know, you
yeah.
can't just hit an endpoint unlimited in a while loop without them knowing these days. It's gonna get
Yeah.
picked up.
Okay.
So
That's
that's like where I came from in my programming world, that type of stuff, making bots. uh,
okay.
and
Well,
eventually, like after it got too hard, I tried to do something more legit, and I started making React Native apps. And I made a couple apps, and I made a couple like WordPress websites and stuff like that. And I guess I made like one big app for a bank in Jamaica. And from there, I got another job. Like I'd say I did the freelancing for like 6-7 years, right? And then after that, I got like another freelancing type job to make that banking app. And that lasted maybe 2 or 3 years. And after that, I was able to get a job at a small startup for like 1 year. And it's during that time at that startup that I started to stream LeetCode on Twitch.
Okay.
Um,
You have a lot of,
so
yeah, you have a lot of like stories. I feel like for each of these, I mean, you could talk for like a really, really long time. Like we could talk for like a really long time just on each of these things. Like you said you made an app in Jamaica, or that I guess it was popular in
yeah,
Jamaica. Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't Jamaica is small. It was probably like 20,000 people on the
I mean,
app,
that's still cool. That's very
or it
cool.
had it wasn't anything crazy big though. Like nothing super planet scale or anything fancy really. It was like really jank actually.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it was like I only did the front end. They already had the back end built.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was in React Native.
Okay.
Yeah. What else can I talk about, man? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, no, I mean, I have questions too, right, bro? I've got so many
Okay.
things that
Okay.
I'm curious about that I will talk about. I mean, unless you want to talk about something specifically, like, you can go for it. But I've got so much
Nah,
stuff to talk.
just shoot the questions, man. I don't want it to be like a monologue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one thing too is that like Chi had that same thing too with the app where like he like just randomly he was like, oh yeah, like I made this app and like several like I just got lucky. I had like one YouTuber play it on his stream and then a ton of YouTubers started playing it. It was like a social game too, so he popped off on that.
All right. I saw a stream on that. It was like Cards Against Humanity, but
Yeah,
a little bootleg style. Yeah.
yeah. Apparently it was like really really fucked up too, actually.
Yeah. I never made anything like a game or anything. But my app was like a bank, and it was like an all-in-one app. Like you can order food on it, could send money to other
Nice.
people who are in the bank. You could like withdraw, deposit money, I guess. Order. You could pay your phone bills. You could pay your electric bill. Things like that. It was like a banking app basically that allowed you to do all these things. Check your balance.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I don't remember
Okay.
what else, but stuff like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I mean, well, one, and I guess I'm mentioning all that stuff too because I think it's interesting because one, there are very few programmers who are like doing like the more entrepreneurial stuff, like making their own apps and things like that. And like having one that is actually successful too. That's really cool. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I guess I told you before the call or before like the stream or whatever. But I was like, yeah, I think like your background's like very very like distinct, and I think that's very interesting. But the next question, I guess, is like one thing I'm curious too is okay, like how'd you go from that world, and then you go into like it feels like more mainstream, right? Where it's like okay, get a good FANG job, like do some leak code. What made you like flip the switch and be like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do this startup stuff anymore?
Um, I guess I always thought that engineers made like 150K tops for like 20 years in the industry. That's going to be your salary. And like, man, I'm not trying to work for 20 years to making 150K tops. Like, that's not, I don't think that's in my destiny, you know? So that's why I chose to like kind of go my own path and kind of leave behind the whole corporate get a job type of mentality. But then when somebody told me like, all you got to do is solve 300 leak code problems and you get a job for like 200
Oh, I
300K,
see.
and that's
I
where you
see.
start at, and then you get to like L5 L6 and you're making like 500 600K, working 20 hours a week, adding 2 pixels
Uh,
padding to a button and stuff like that. I'm like, man,
Easy work.
that doesn't sound too bad, you know what I'm saying? Let me see what this leak code thing is all about. that was the big mentality switch for me. I didn't first, I guess it was the money. And then second, it was like I didn't even think I had a chance to get into one of these companies because my background is just kind of not there, like public state school, low GPA, never had a real job doing
Yeah.
programming. So I'm like, why would they even hire me? But once I found out, man, they don't care about none of that. It's all about LeetCode and can you solve these dang problems? I was like, yo, sign me up, man. Let's go.
Yeah. And what do you think
And
about, I guess, what are your thoughts on LeetCode? Like, do you think it's like useful, or do you think it's dumb?
man, I mean, of course, I think it's useful. Before LeetCode, like I was programming for 6, 7 years, man. But before LeetCode, I never knew anything about actual computer science. Like I hardly knew the difference between a byte and a bit.
Yeah.
I never heard about binary trees, linked lists. I didn't even know what that was, man. A pointer, never heard of it. Don't care. But LeetCode kind of forced me to go learn all these fundamental concepts, that I think it really definitely made me a better programmer. Like I was doing like optimizations before, but not I wasn't really knowing what I was doing. I'd be like just pressing buttons until something worked better. Like I didn't know how to approach a problem and think of it from a computer science standpoint. Like maybe, I was using hash maps and stuff to cache things, but I didn't know like why that was faster sometimes or if it's always faster. I couldn't
Okay.
do time complexity analysis. I didn't know all the different data structures I could use. DFS, BFS, I didn't know about those things.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, LeetCode taught me a lot, man. And so I do think it's useful in that sense. But I guess you could argue that I could just go study it and get a computer science degree, man. But that's kind of boring. I guess I learned computer science by grinding LeetCode.
Okay. Yeah.
And LeetCode is like bite-sized chunks, and it's nice, and it's kind of like a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and then that's just about is it useful? I really do like that the industry is around LeetCode because I feel it gives people like me a chance to break in
Yeah.
when maybe I would never stand a chance in like 10, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and that's one thing I really, really love about LeetCode is that it feels like it's like a more merit based system. Whereas you have industries like being a lawyer where like you have to drive a fancy car, or being a realtor too, you have to drive a fancy car, you have to like wear like a nice suit. You have jobs where it's about like nepotism, where like, oh, do you know this person? And that's how you get the job. But with Google or Facebook or whatever, it's like, oh, are you actually gonna do like you're just gonna do the work, right? Like you can't nepotism your way out or like buy a Lambo or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. I felt like it was a combine or for NFL stuff for like programmers,
Nice.
and you just see how much you can DFS, how much you can BFS, how much you can backtrack,
Yeah.
and they just get all your stats and they give you an offer if it's good enough.
Okay. Cool. So the next thing I'm curious about too. Okay, so you mentioned that you were like, okay, I see these salaries, I can do that. That's doable. I can do like 300, whatever. And like, so how did you like? Because it feels like you had a different mindset entirely from like when you were in college. Like, I guess do you have like a sense of like how you developed that, or like how did you go from like I don't know, yeah,
Man, how did I have such a poor mindset in college? Is that the question? Like,
no,
why didn't I care about my grades?
no, it's not how. Why did you care about your grades? It's like what happened. Because I imagine that there's people who are listening right now that they can't do leak code because they're like, oh man, like the quizzes thing where it's like, oh man, 10%, like who cares? Oh man, DFS, BFS, I don't care, right? Like I imagine it's people like that, but like it seemed like you have to make that shift like in your mind or something. I don't know, but where you
It's
go
all
from
about
like
the
that. Yeah.
money, I
Okay.
guess,
Okay.
because 10% and a $50,000 job, mechanical engineer. Who cares, man? It's not that serious. But man, learn DFS to make 250K as a
Okay.
freshman, or like not as a freshman, but as a new grad or something, like
Huh.
200K. That's a big difference.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
And then even in the mechanical engineering thing, man, it wasn't like they tested you on your knowledge back then either. It's not like you go to a mechanical engineering interview and they're like, all right, solve Bernoulli's equation or something. Nah, they ask you some dumb questions like, how, I always say this, but how many golf balls can you fit in a 747? But I mean, I haven't interviewed for a mechanical engineering spot in like 15 years or more. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's like today.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, yeah, it was like, I guess, a more of a direct path for you. One thing, that kind of brought up is that I feel like when people are motivated by money, they don't actually achieve their goal. But you've mentioned on stream that like streaming helped you stay consistent. So like when you're doing the LeetCode problems, like you felt like if you were gonna let down your audience or something, like I guess like how does that work? Or like how do you like what's your understanding of, I guess, how you stay motivated by like streaming, like to do LeetCode?
Yeah. I tried to study LeetCode maybe 2 times in the past before I started to stream. So I had the first training session I had a training partner.
And it was pandemic,
Some
right?
of
Or no?
you, yeah, that was pre-pandemic.
Okay.
This was in like December 2019. I think my money was running out. I probably had like 15, 20K left to my name.
Oh no.
It's like, man, my money is running out. If I don't figure out something in a few months, my life is gonna be real bad. I'm gonna have to go back to a dang restaurant or something, go bag some bags at the grocery. So that's what like got my ass in gear for my first training camp. And I trained with B Becca. Some people might know B Becca. Sometimes he streams on Twitch, but he's one of the most consistent people I've ever met in my life. Watching him train, he wasn't like too knowledgeable at the time. He was a super beginner, but we decided to partner up, and I think we went for like 3-4 weeks before it kind of fizzled out. So that was like the first time I tried to do LeetCode by myself, and I was just doing like random easy problems. There was no real method to anything I was doing. I was just like crushing easy problems. And anytime I would run into a problem I couldn't solve, I get so demotivated. I feel so dumb. I'm like, man, everybody's solving this. Everybody's saying this is so easy, and I can't even wrap my head around it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably like a DFS problem on a binary tree, and I didn't even know how to traverse a tree.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, I kind of just fizzled out. I think COVID also hit at the time, and that training camp just got squashed. Never recovered from that. At that point, I was like a 1,500 rated person on LeetCode, maybe
Okay.
like a 1,550. So I was solving maybe 2 problems on the contest, but not very fast. So
Okay.
that's like my first encounter with LeetCode, man. My first time trying to really study it. Didn't go too well. The second time, it was the summer of 2020 during COVID. And during this time, that's when I found Binary Search, man. Binary Search was a website like LeetCode. It was multiplayer LeetCode. That really motivated me. I went further than I ever did before in my previous training camps. Like Binary Search, it was like a live chat on the thing. So you'd be like, "What's up, guys? Who wants to crush some problems?" And somebody would be like, "Oh, ooh, me. I want to crush problems." And you create a room, and then people just join the room, and you solve problems together, and you talk about the problems. Like, man, these problems so hard. Man, these crazy problems. My head hurts, and it just felt like more fun. Like I felt I was studying with people 24/7 around the clock. Whenever I wanted, there's someone to train with.
Yeah.
And I went for like 60 days almost every single day, just training LeetCode. And during this time, this is my second training camp. So it lasted 60 days, and I went from like a 1550 rated to like a 1650 rated problem or contest rating. And then I learned things like BFS. Maybe I learned how to use like a queue during this time. And I just got more knowledge of the different techniques and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was running real low on money. I was probably like 4K right now in my bank.
Are you serious?
Going almost, yeah. I was living in my grandma's basement. My money was dwindling like whoa. And then I got a job. I was applying to jobs, like 100 jobs a day, roughly, every single day. And within a week, I got a job. I
Wait,
just took the
actually,
first job. Yeah,
100 jobs every single day.
100 jobs every single day. No bullshit, man.
That's crazy.
Um, and I think I interviewed like 6 places, but these are not FANG places. These are like super small startups and
Yeah,
dev
for sure.
shops, man. You know.
For sure.
So I interviewed with like 6 places. I got like 2 rejections or so, and then I got one offer, and it was for this small startup in the farming industry. They're trying to make an app that connected farmers with consumers directly. And anyways, I got that job, and then I stopped training LeetCode again. So this is like September 2020.
Okay.
And that was the end of my LeetCode, basically. I never, like, the job interview, they didn't even ask me anything about LeetCode. They just asked me about my React Native experience, and that's all I did, React Native, at
Mm-hmm.
that job.
Okay.
So still, I wasn't like too great at LeetCode, but I think I had an Amazon interview also lined up, but I got scared and I just canceled it. I didn't even want to take it. I rather
Didn't even
stayed
want to
at the
embarrass yourself.
so the job I got, right? They paid me $35 an hour,
70K a year.
right? But it was hourly. So I used to get overtime. So it was
Mm-hmm.
more like 100K, but because I
Oh,
was
damn.
pushing it, I was like
Damn.
actually working hard. So it wasn't too bad, but I was working many, many, many hours. Um, it wasn't great. And that was my second training camp, man. And so in September, and I worked all the way through until April. So at this point, I'm in my grandma's basement still. I'm living in my grandma's basement the whole time. I'm paying her money though, buying her stuff, bought her like a new fridge, a new stove, things like that, because
Nice.
she just cooked for me all day.
Nice.
Gained like 50 pounds.
Unironically, actually.
So yeah, I gained like 50 pounds staying
That's a
at
lot
my
of weight.
grandma's house for a
Yeah.
year.
Did you
And it
lose
was
the
during
pounds?
COVID. No, not really. I
Oh.
lost like half of it. So,
Oh.
anyways, after I stepped on a scale one day, I was like, man, I gotta get out of this place. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'm gonna get to like 300 pounds.
Okay.
So I moved back to the Bay and I became roommates with B. Becco, my first training partner in LeetCode.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that was like April 2021 now. And I guess fast forward to June 2021, that's when I first started my third training camp. That's when I started streaming LeetCode on Twitch. And it was what triggered me, man. I think B Becca came up to me and was like, hey man, I'm about to move. So we're living in Oakland in the Bay. And one day he was
Uh,
like, hey man, I'm about to move
yeah.
across the bridge into San Francisco. There's return to office and works office is like right there, and I gotta move closer. So I was like in a position where I needed to find a job and I didn't have any money to pay Bay Area rent. I'm still making like $35 an hour, right? So I can't afford Bay Area rent on that. That's what got me going for my third LeetCode training camp. And then this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to stream the whole thing. I'm going to actually train like how I'd interview, and I'm just going to talk my whole thought process out for every single problem I solve to the camera and pretend like every single problem is an interview. And that's what I did. June 1st, 2021. And then I streamed for like 150 days straight.
I copied
And
your format
then
too,
that's it.
actually. I copied your format for
Yeah.
the counting days. I think you had like what it was like 10 days till FANG interview, or like 20, 30, 40, 50 days till FANG interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. When it got closer, I started doing the countdown.
Yeah.
But so I started streaming while I had that job at the farming startup. And then I think, so I'm just training like 3 hours a day, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time, every day after work. Turn on the stream for 3 hours, do 3 hours of leak coding, and that's it. That was it. That's all I did. But by the second month of doing that, I entered Google Kickstart. It's a competitive programming contest that was hosted by Google a long time ago. It's not around anymore. But
I heard it
anyways,
was
I
because of
entered that.
cheaters. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard
I
they
don't
stopped
know.
Google Kickstarter. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they stopped it. But No Condom Chris actually told me to take that Kickstart thing because it was coming up.
Yeah.
And I think that day there was probably like is it either Jake Paul was fighting or it was like McGregor the time when he broke his leg in the fight. I think it was one of those fights.
Okay.
It was the same day as the Google Kickstart. So I was like, man, I'm not taking that Kickstart thing because I got a fight to watch. But then No Condom Chris kind of forced me to take the contest, and I did it.
Yeah, he'll do that. He will do that.
Yeah, which I'm very grateful for. And then like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a Google recruiter reaches out to me and say, "Hey Simon, congrats on doing so well on Google Kickstart," which I didn't do well. I only solved one problem, and
Nice.
it was like really jank. But anyways, they offered me an
Bro,
interview.
also that's how like great like 2020. That feels like just very 2021, 2022 like where you just do like the bare minimum and you get an interview. Yeah.
It was a different beast back then, man. These days, it's not like that. There is no low hanging fruit like that or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just participate. I didn't even apply anywhere, and they reached out to me like, "Hey, you want to interview?" I was like, "Hell yeah, man! What's up? When do we do this?" And it's like, "When do you want to do it?" I was like, "Shit." And we get 5 weeks to study because I
Wow.
wasn't feeling ready. I was like, I need time to prep. So the recruiter said 5 weeks is kind of long, but let's do it. I'll book it. So I was like, cool. And then right after that, man, I quit my job immediately. I was like, I went to my daily stand up and I was like, hey guys, I'm out of here. I got a chance to yeah, I told them I got a chance to interview at Google and I need to study. So I'm gonna quit to study full time. And they're like, oh shit, cool. Well, if you want to come back, if it doesn't work out, you're always welcome. I was like, yeah, thanks, but peace out. So that's what I did, man. And then after I quit, I was streaming 2 times a day on Twitch. So like day 60-ish and on or whatever, I was doing a morning session at like 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., 3 hours, no joking around. Then I go eat lunch, take a nap, whatever. And I come back at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and crush it again 2 times every single day, except on the weekends. On the weekends, I didn't wake up for the morning sessions. So I think I was doing like 50, 55 hours of studying a week on a consistent, scheduled basis. Like I wasn't just grinding till my wheels fall off, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that was big because in the past, I used to just grind it until there's no more gas and I get burnt out. So
Yeah.
I think like regulating my schedule really helped.
And it helps having like a deadline too. Like when you have the interview there, it's not like a maybe, it's an actual physical thing.
Yeah, for sure. That put some fire under my ass and it kind of pushed me to just go for my number one company immediately because I had made this list of like 100 companies. I was just going to go through all of them, you know, but I guess I didn't have to do that because the one at the top just reached out to me, you know.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know.
And yeah, never know.
It's like a Kanye West. I think it's a Kanye. Somebody said that. They were like, they asked me like, what would I do if I didn't win? And he was like, I guess we'll never know. It's like, I think it was Kanye West.
I
That
guess
was
we'll never
pretty.
know, man.
Yeah.
So that's like my whole story, I suppose. I guess
Cool.
there's a lot more in the details, but that's like the gist of it, you know.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it seems really straightforward. Like it's just like you're studying a lot, you know, putting in a lot of hours, and then you kind of like get that result. I did have some other things too, I think. Um, okay, yeah, so like you should ask about his world travel stories. Yeah, we got so many topics with Simon. He leads on. He doesn't say a whole lot, but I don't I'm not like super interested in the travel stuff. I'm more interested in like I guess your experiences being older in tech, right? Like I mean we kind of talked about this, you know, earlier, right? You working at the startups, right? You're gonna be older. Do you think it's I know, yeah. Have you ever had thoughts or doubts about yourself, like due to age, or do you have you like do you think you've experienced like I guess you know things harder being because of like age, like I guess just
Um,
other people?
I think being older is all right. It doesn't hurt you. Like people aren't saying, "Oh, I'm too old to learn things, so they're not gonna trust me with things." That's not happening. What I do see happening is maybe I have a little bit more social experience than some of my coworkers.
Based,
So like,
a little
yeah,
autistic.
so like, um, not not like technical stuff. I might not be as good as some of my coworkers, but when it's time to go to lunch or time to like connect with other teams over small things and just like develop relationships with other people at work, I'm able to do that very well. I'm able to like connect with people on a more personal level than maybe if I wasn't as old as I am,
Mm-hmm.
because I do think I've gotten a lot better at socializing as I got older. You know, when I was in my 20s, I was not as social for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have like more things to talk about. People might find me a little bit more interesting, and then that benefits me because now people tell me all the gossip on their team, or they tell me
Nice.
all the cool thing, you know, the things that's coming up that no one really talks about, or like the small politics that's going on intra teams and intra org.
Mm-hmm.
So I get like lots of things into that. Um, I was able, I think, because of being a bit older and able to connect with people, I was able to successfully switch teams. When my first team wasn't so great of a match for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I just shelled up and kept to myself, I wouldn't have been able to get another manager to want to take me on their team. So for sure, being older is can be beneficial because you have more life experience and stuff. So you can navigate certain social situations a bit easier because you've been in them before.
Yeah. Do you think that it's bad, like, or like, you know, if someone was like, "Oh, I'm 30 years old, I'm a SWE, and I feel like I just can't," like, they're not a SWE actually, sorry, they're 30 years old and they want to get into SWE and maybe one day work at Google. Like, do you think it's like too late for them, or if somebody's 35, do you think there's a cutoff period? Someone's 35.
Nah, man. I mean, I think I got in when I was like 34 or something. So I started studying LeetCode when I was like 30, 32 or something like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely not too early or too late, I should say. It's definitely not too late by the time you're 30. Maybe by the time you're like 90 or something, but I think if you have the time and you have the ability to focus, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Okay,
You
that's
could be
cool.
50 years old and I think you could grind and get in. Maybe you got to dye your hair or something. No, I don't think you even need to do that. I think if you can just showcase your skill sets and your knowledge of algorithms and your communication skills, people are very understanding that sometimes people make a career switch, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, yeah, that's really
Um,
good. That's really good. I
yeah.
kind of sucks about like I guess because I'm tired now, my brain kind of like loses track of things. Normally I can like keep track of like mentally like what topic I'm gonna ask next, but did okay.
Man, maybe you got a concussion or something too.
No, it's
Like,
just like
no
whenever
joke.
I'm no, it's just whenever I'm sleepy. Like I didn't I wasn't it wasn't that hard of a hit like on my head. It's just like most of it's just like friction.
Man,
Most of it's just
I
friction burn.
mean, looks pretty
Like
hard though. I ain't gonna lie.
okay, no, but that's not you. You can't
Right.
see concussions. Like this is just friction burn. So the seat like rubbed down.
Yeah,
I mean
I get it.
maybe I have a concussion. I don't know. But whenever I'm like sleepy, whenever I'm really sleepy, I didn't sleep because like the pain. So I'm on
All
like
right.
maybe like 4 or 3 hours of sleep. But like whenever anytime I'm in like that sleepy state, like it's hard for me to keep track of like what's happening in a conversation. Yeah, I got into a bad street fight, honestly.
All
Honestly.
right. All right.
Okay. Well, I guess we have a question from chat. Can you ask him, does he have more plans with LeetCode now that he's already got FANG?
All right, big blaster. What's happening? So I've been leak coding even after I got into FANG. I've been working my job at FANG for almost 2.5 years now, and I haven't really stopped streaming. So right now I'm on a little break because my life is kind of busy, and I want to take some time to take care of my life and also do some other things. But I haven't stopped streaming, and I still train LeetCode on stream. And I do have more plans with LeetCode. It's kind of, I think, it's gotten fun for me in a way, and I think it's a good hobby to have. So instead of like just playing video games and chilling all day, I just add a little 10 hours a week of LeetCode, and I feel a lot more productive in my life. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
All right.
I mean, I
Did
got
you
some YouTube plans for LeetCode too, but we'll see how it goes.
yeah, can you talk
Been
about
had
that?
plans.
Can you talk about that at all? Like do you have any or what plans do you have? Do you have any plans for the content creation stuff? Like do you
Yeah, I do. I really would like to create like a YouTube channel geared towards about helping people with algorithms, or there's like talking about small things about how I got into the mode to just study leak code, whether it's like just explaining binary search or sliding window or something like that. I
Mhm.
think I do want to like make those videos because um feel I don't know, I feel it's something I enjoy doing. At least the content creation, it feels like I enjoy it. At least streaming. I don't know about making videos yet. And it feels like the only way to grow as a streamer is to expand on other platforms like YouTube and
Yeah,
whatnot.
for sure.
And I feel like every time I stream, man, and I turn off the stream, that's it. That's it for my growth. But if I were to make a video instead, I could just upload like a 10-minute video and it will like allow people to see what's up for months to come, years even, years people will be watching that video. But my one streaming, 3 hours streaming, it's like it just lasts for that instant and then it's gone. No one ever
Yeah.
watches it again. So that's, I feel maybe I'm like not working as efficiently as I could if I just put in a little bit of effort into YouTube.
Okay. But and so hmm, I guess okay, sure. What would you I guess would you well I mean I kind of know the answer to this. Also one Solaris asked, are you doing contests on other websites like Coder at Coder, Cock?
Oh yeah.
Are you a
Man,
cocker?
I'm not into Clash of Code that much. Find those questions a little bit unfair to C++. But I've done a little at coder before. I kind of want to get into one of those other sites because I think doing more contests will help me to get to Guardian a lot faster. But Code Forces, the contests are always weird times, like during working hours. I think at Coder is the only realistic website for me because it's like on the weekends in the morning, you know. I was doing at Coder when I was training for my initial interview, but haven't done at Coder since, you know. So I'd like to see. I mean, I'd like to do more at Coder. Can do the virtuals, yeah, I guess so. But man, virtuals don't hit the same, man. Try and get that elo. I'm trying to see where I stack
Those
up for
points.
real, and I'm trying to have that on my profile. Like it's a
Heck yeah.
permanent record.
Heck yeah.
Virtuals are like, I don't know. I like that pressure. I like that it's recorded. It goes on your permanent record. You know.
Yeah. Pat said, not a cock enjoyer. Yeah, imagine
Nah,
not
I
enjoying
don't.
cock, a little bit of cock once now and then.
Yeah, what can I
What,
say, man? It's not
what,
for me.
or okay, do you feel bad whenever you like, or like, how bad do you feel when you do like that, perform bad in a contest? Like,
Oh,
when you lose,
geez,
like,
it
oh,
brings me down a lot. It sometimes it ruins my whole night, man. Even though I try to not get affected by my rating, it still feels really bad whenever I enter a contest and I'm like, I do terrible, way worse than I'd normally do, and I lose like 50 elo because
mhm.
that's like weeks, takes weeks to get back on that, and it just makes your goal so much further away. But sometimes it could go either way. Sometimes it really motivates me. I'm like, yeah, man, I just messed this contest up. I gotta work extra hard so I don't mess it up again.
Mhm.
Sometimes it has that effect, and sometimes it's like, oh shit. The more I study, the worse I get. Maybe I should chill out on the studying for a bit, you know?
Yeah, no, and I mean that's like super, like, and that's like super human. I feel like because there's like the stuff that I like talking about. Maybe I'll talk about it more, like get some kind of actual in depth into it. But like there's like the mental aspect of it, of like leet code and doing anything in life. Going to the gym, of right, like if you. But that said, right, like the really interesting thing is like, okay, well, how do you actually push through that, right? So like, I mean, you keep going. You have those thoughts. You're like, oh, well, maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should stop studying. But you still show up like the next week. I guess do you know why?
Mostly, sometimes. Well, I
Oh,
mean, I
really?
show up mainly because I feel like I have an audience now. So I'm like, people are watching, and I don't wanna be known or remembered as the guy who just took
Disappeared.
an L and disappeared, you know, even though I feel like that's kind of what happened recently.
Oh,
But
I don't know
you
yet.
know, yeah, so that kind of keeps me going where I just have to kind of redeem myself and clear my name, you know. I want my name associated with L's. So I like, all right, I gotta step up my studying. I gotta show them what's up. So that's like what drives me, I guess. Maybe it's not. Maybe what drives me should just be trying to learn more. But I just want to get Guardian for now, I'd say.
Okay, cool. I was like sending out DMs like right now because I'm like trying to like do job interview stuff, or like get more job interviews, basically more tech interviews. I sent one out to this guy on LinkedIn that was like kind of random. I don't know how he actually had me added, but he told me like, oh well, before I give you a referral, we need to do a mock interview, and he sends me his calendar, and apparently I'm gonna be doing like a mock interview with them. But I was just thought that was interesting. I've never had something like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I guess he wants to make sure that you can actually pass before he wastes a referral and
Yeah,
effort
yeah.
and energy on you.
Yeah, that's what he told me. He said like he's had several people who like HR will tell them like these people are suck basically, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say that's fine. I feel the same way. I wouldn't really give a referral to somebody unless I've seen them perform. Like I've seen their leak code profile, or I know they've been showing up for training all the time. I see their contest rating. I see some level of consistency or some type of pedigree from them, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna give a referral to a random without any signals. That's like, what? Why? Why would I do that? You know?
Yeah. And Solaris had a couple questions. Do you always upsolve the questions you couldn't do?
Nah,
Do you also
nah.
have the
Sometimes the questions I just forget about them and then don't ever look at them, even though I should.
and
So yeah.
and do you also have the effect of performing better in virtuals and real contests?
No, I perform better in real contests than in virtuals, hands down, for sure. Virtual contests, I can't get to the same level of focus. Like, I can tap into that mojo in practice. But if it's a championship game and the game is on the line and it's like in the fourth quarter, I tap into something that I can't do when it's just a pretend contest, you know?
How do you know?
So,
Have you heard of the flow state?
nah, I don't know
So
what. Never
in
heard of that.
athleticism, and in anime, there is I was kind of joking
Anime,
about the anime.
okay.
Yeah, I was kind of was a joke. In athletic sports, and also just in life too, they have a moment where you are like so focused, and like everything, like you are intensely focused, and you are like gliding through, like you're just like vibing and just like killing it. Um, like I don't, if you've ever played a sport, you might have seen that where you just like everything you do, like you're just, it's like you're just like you're in the zone, is what they call it, in the zone, where everything you do is just right. I'm curious, have you felt that for Elite Code?
Man, sometimes I feel like I'm way more in the zone than other times. I'd say I feel it more when I'm not in the zone
Oh,
because I make so many mistakes and I'm just like failing at things I shouldn't fail at. But when I'm in the zone, I guess I don't really I don't know. I suppose my
okay,
zones aren't that crazy because there are so many problems that I can't do.
okay,
Um, but yeah, for sure. Sometimes I feel more focused than other times, or I'm able to see patterns that I don't see when I'm not in the zone.
okay,
You know,
yeah,
so yeah, it happens. Like my state of mind affects my performance for sure.
okay. No, I like it. It's oh boy, yeah, there we go. Well, I don't know where I was gonna say. Like it was like something related to that, and I don't remember. Like I said, bro, if I'm sleepy,
No worries.
yeah, it's
Damn, what time
but
have you been going to bed, man? It's like 3 p.m. over there. What you talking about?
yeah, it is.
Sleepy.
Yeah,
You drink coffee? Just you should have taken like
no,
two
I don't want to
shots of
get
espresso or something.
I don't want to get a
You
dependency.
don't do drugs like that.
Yeah, and
Nah,
I
you
stay
don't do
away.
any drugs, man.
No drugs, zero drugs, except for these
Damn.
ibuprofen pills that they prescribe
Oh
me.
shit. Is that just since the accident, or you just be popping ibuprofen on the
Oh
regular
heck
for
yeah,
no
bro!
reason?
Heck yeah! You don't do that?
I mean,
Papa Advil.
I was thinking about popping some, man. They give us free ibuprofen at work. I was thinking about taking some. Sometimes I got like
Oh
back
bro.
pain.
Oh man, I hate Googlers so much. You guys, I feel like when I was in college, all my roommates, both my roommates were Googlers, and I would hear them say like just the random stuff Google has. And one of the things that I said was that like I'm pretty sure like Google has like a water park, because which is just like a secret water park, like only the Googlers know about it, because like you guys have like infinite food, like the restaurants, you guys have I feel like you guys have a slide. That would not surprise me if you guys have a slide. There's a
There's a
gym, there are
slide, but
massages.
no, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
nobody's sliding on the slide for fun. It's more
Okay.
like just for show, you know.
Okay. Yeah,
There's
but
gyms, there's massages.
yeah,
We
it's a
get
lot of stuff,
60
man.
minutes a year of
Free
free
ibuprofen.
massage minutes. Oh, I mean, there's like a medicine cabinet with like band-aids and cold medicine and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of free things. Well, I wouldn't call it free, man. It's a part of our compensation. That's how I view them. I don't think they're free
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have access to them if I wasn't working. So it's like a part of the deal, you know?
Yeah. The deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And let me see. I mean, I'm trying to see. I don't think I have a whole lot. The only other couple things that like I kind of want to talk about, and part of this is just me getting tired, I guess, but one thing I guess I have three questions, right? For sure. I have three questions, and those are going to be
All right.
because I
Let's
didn't
do
want to
it.
keep this within like an hour, but the my bad. Okay. Yeah, so would you recommend studying full time for someone who's like thinking about doing FANG? Like, would you tell someone else to do that like right now?
Man, I ain't
Like
telling
quit their
nobody what
job?
to do, first of all.
Okay.
I'd say what I did was very risky, but I felt given what I know about myself and my previous wins and previous challenges in my life, that this is something that I could do. That's why I had no problems like quitting my job to go study full time. You know, like I've been under pressure many times in my life because of college, because of like the the freelancing world I was in with making those spam bots and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always been under these crazy constraints, like in college. Oh, I got to get like a 95% on the final exam to have a C in the class, that type of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it just felt like, good old business for me, man. So I'd say you have to be honest with yourself if you're thinking about quitting your job to go study full time without having any type of backup plan. I'd
Mm-hmm.
say it's risky. It could not work for sure. And if you don't really believe in yourself, it's definitely not going to work. You got to believe in yourself and maybe need some type of previous successes for you to have that level of confidence.
Okay, interesting.
That's what I'd say. So if you're a type of person where you've been in these really weird time constraint, high pressure situations and you're able to perform and you're able to get the job done, then yeah, I'd say go for it, man. Like, but if you've never been in a situation like that, it might be a little bit risky.
Okay,
That's what
interesting,
I would say.
interesting. Yeah, I mean personally, I don't think like I think you can get away with it for sure. Like I mean easily. Like you're gonna have more work. Like if you have a full time job, I think you can have a full time job and also study. But like you're the hours you're gonna be working, it's gonna be like what 6 to 10 p.m. probably for something like
Yeah, you're gonna have
meaningful.
to
I
work
feel
hard
like
either way.
yeah. Okay, and last one I think, or maybe one of the last ones. Do you have any advice for college students who like just picked up CS? Like, what would your advice to them kind of be?
College students, man, I don't
Yeah,
really know. I'd
there's a lot
say the
of
most important thing, man, um, I'd say if you don't have any type of work ethic, you're not gonna make it very far in anything you do. Like you could be the smartest person, I don't care, man. If you don't have a work ethic, you're just gonna waste away. So um, maybe like stop over indexing on intelligence and like stuff like that, and start like putting some eggs in the work ethic basket. I think that's what I was missing most of my earlier life. Maybe I felt I had the brains, but I didn't have the work ethic, so I never really made it. Whereas I was mega underachiever my whole life, I feel, only because I was so lazy
mm-hmm,
and I thought I could just carry myself by being a little bit smart.
mm-hmm.
But I guess reality kind of checked me multiple times since I've been an adult. And now I know that you got to work hard in anything you do. Like, you can overcome almost anything with hard work.
Okay, cool. And you know, it's really interesting. Bet Simp said the exact same thing. He said the exact same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, he said work hard.
Yeah. I mean, it ain't no lie, man. Anybody who's in a top position, for sure, hard work got them there, or hard work got somebody there to then pass the torch to them.
Mm-hmm.
But hard work was involved for sure. Maybe some luck, for sure, some luck, but definitely you can't make it without the hard work.
Yeah. So yeah, he said yes. Who's Bet Simp? I guess, or I don't know. Sam's Bet Simp. He's a high frequency trading guy. He used to work at Google and currently works at high frequency trading. But he also streams on Twitch. Okay. So oh yeah, and then you're saying the hard work. Shoot, man. Yeah, unfortunately. Whatever. We're at that time. Yeah, we're at the time where it's just not
That's
cooking.
cool. Cool.
It's not cooking.
All right. Maybe we can
Oh, we
take
get
some
Pat's.
chat questions or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. If anyone has any questions in chat, ask Midnight Simon about any of the stuff. He's also a world traveler, so he also knows a lot about countries, I believe. I saw
Some
him.
countries, man.
I saw you
Yeah.
post. I saw you post on Discord. Someone was like, "What's the best place to eat in Japan?" You like just typed out like this full on
Oh,
like
yeah.
this restaurant, this restaurant, this
Told them,
restaurant. They're actually owned by like Americans, and like you got to make sure that right.
that was my circuit back in Osaka. But anyways, Pat has a question. What are my career aspirations? Do you plan to stay as IC or become SDM? I think my career aspirations, man, would be like one day I want to not have to work for a dang corporation. That's for sure. That's like my number one career aspiration is to not have a career in a corporation. So, as for IC or manager, I think I wouldn't mind being a manager, but I think I still have a lot more to learn as an IC before I make that transition.
And
Maybe in like 3, 4, 5 years, maybe closer to 5 years, 4 or 5, I'd like to be a manager. But for now, IC seems to be the play. But I was a manager at my previous job. I
that's
started off as
interesting.
an IC, but then I became a manager of like 5, 6 people.
That's pretty cool.
And it was chill. I really enjoyed it. Wasn't chill. Let me rephrase that. I enjoyed it. But I really liked helping other people with their careers and like just mentoring them in a way that was really rewarding for me. And I still keep in touch with those people, at least some of them, some of the people that I managed.
Yeah, okay.
So that's my career aspirations. I don't want to be a lifer, I think, at a corporation, but I do want to spend maybe 4 to 6 more years doing career stuff like at a corporation before maybe I have enough money on my own to like do my own thing.
Would you ever? Would you ever? Like, do you think, or I guess, do you think that you would sell a course or do coaching or anything like that for like people getting into FANG?
Nah, I would want to sell a course. I don't think um I don't want to be I feel those courses are all kind of snake oil,
Okay, why do you say that?
because I guess because there's just so many free resources out there these days, and like you don't really need any paid course, and anything in a paid course you can probably find for free. And it's not like the paid one is any better than the free resources out there, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's more organized and it just gives you a path. But I would want to give that for free. If I were to do anything, I would want to make money off of a paid course. Maybe ads on YouTube or something could pay for the course, but I wouldn't want to charge the end user for whatever I'm doing,
Yeah.
That's how I
Okay.
feel about that type of stuff. At
Okay.
least for like entry level knowledge, I don't feel I'd like to pay for or like charge for it.
All right.
Maybe like
And
advanced stuff. I don't know, but I don't have any advanced knowledge to charge for.
Smart Coder asked, building any new keyboards, or did you give up?
Man, I got smart code. I'm planning on building some, man. Stay tuned. You might just see me pop up on a stream sometime this summer and build out all the keyboards I got.
Keys.
Um, I haven't given up on them fully, but maybe a little bit.
Nice.
I think I found some nice keyboards I have now.
And then Solaris, it's not really a question at all, but he was kind of like, I guess he was saying that like for courses, like you can have discipline basically. So you can have people who don't have discipline or whatever, and that they need that discipline, and buying a course is that
Yeah.
ties them to it because they're losing financial things. But
Well, I mean, if I ever offer a course, maybe I'll offer a free version and a paid version. That's the exact same thing as a free version. But if you just need some money commitment to get you going, you're more than welcome to buy the free course.
nice. Okay. I think oh, another thing too, I was gonna think about with like the IC thing. I don't know. Have you heard of Naveed? Was it shoot Naveed? No, Naveed, not Naveed. Ravit something, bro. I don't remember the guy's name. It's like Ravit, Navikant, or something
You
like
talking
something
about
weird.
LeetCode, man?
No, there's a guy. He's like a billionaire or something. But like, I,
Billionaire. Oh, snap.
I mean not billionaire. He's like maybe 500 millionaire, whatever. But he wrote this book on like how to get rich, and it's actually a really good book. But in the book, he talks about how like there's like these like 4 pyramid levels of like basically how you can put in what you want is like leverage basically, and so you put in the least amount of work, right, to like to get like exponential output. So code is one of them, where you can write a piece of software, and that software has like infinite scale. Like that's what Facebook is. It's billions of dollars of value. It's like it scales, right? It's like it's not gonna break or anything like that, like so to speak, right? It you can sleep and
All
still make
right.
money essentially with code. Okay.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just like, because I thought it was like really interesting because he talks about that one. He talks about, which I think is honestly kind of like an IC contributor, where like you can go super deep in IC. Like I feel like if you're an IC, I mean, you can make $1 million a year. I mean, more doing that. Like yeah, easily. But
Yeah. You gotta be a
the
hard worker.
and like the difference is that like unless you're like if you're cleaning like floors or something like that, or you're working as a waiter, maybe depending on the waiting staff or whatever the restaurant that you're at, but like if you're cleaning floors, you're not actually gonna have any money. Like it doesn't scale to $1 billion or $1 million cleaning floors, unless like you have like this other element which is the manager one. So unless you're managing people, and that's like another act of leverage, because when you manage people, you tell the people what to do, they can like do way more work than you
Yeah.
could do as a single person. But anyways, the third one, I'm all getting onto this like long story. Is the third one was like was content creation in his like book or whatever, and he's saying like content creation is kind of the same thing where you can put out a piece of content, you can sleep, make money off of it, and that it scales exponentially because you may say one piece of content you can reach 100 million people, a billion people. It's free, yeah. So
Right.
all of that to
Yeah. I
say,
mean,
yeah.
I feel strongly about content creation too. I'm to be honest, I've been having some trouble with my content creation career. I feel like I've been comfortable in Twitch, and it's like such a big ask for me to like expand into YouTube. Like my body is rejecting it, you know. I haven't been putting in the work that I know I need to, and maybe it's also because I have a job and I'm like I don't have to like buy from the dollar menu every day anymore. Maybe that has
Yeah,
something to do with it, but
yeah,
I do feel I would like to put more work into content creation for sure.
yeah. But yeah, anyways, but that's like the thing that like I'm doing, which is obviously why like I mean, I guess a big part too why I'm interviewing you, doing like this podcast thing, is because I like the content side, and then I want to like keep going that. But like everything's like a skill. Like you don't have to do anything. Like again, you can make $1 million a year if you literally just said fuck it, I'm just gonna code. I'm just gonna code, and that's it. You just code. Or if you say like I want to be manager, but like it kind of resets every single time. So like now you have to learn how to make thumbnails. Now you have to learn how to edit videos. But anyways, I like I said, I find like I like talking about all this kind of stuff, and I could talk about it like a lot. But that just was something I thought about when I heard icy.
Cool.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, content creation, man, it's here to stay, and people are getting rich off of it. So, except me, I'm not. I mean, I guess it's brought me only good things in life. You know, like streaming has definitely changed my life for the better. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
um,
The same for me too. I think like I mean it's like especially like being able to talk to you, being able to talk to BetSimp. Like none of that stuff happens if I'm not streaming or talking to chatters too like that. I am okay.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, I think
anything else? Is that it? Any chat questions?
no, I don't think so. I think we're
That's it.
good. Unless anybody's got one last thing they want to say. If you guys want to say see ya to Simon. I don't know when he's going to be streaming again, but the summer, at the after summer for sure, is the
Yeah,
word so
after
far.
summer. So I'm moving sometime in August. So I'll probably be in my new apartment like around, I think I'll come back in September and maybe go strong until like Advent of Code or something. And then maybe, I don't know after that, but
Can
that's the
you
plan for at least this year.
have you ever placed an Advent of code like really really high?
Nah, come
Uh,
on, no. I'm not that good, man. Like
oh no.
I'm not cracked out or
Yeah,
anything.
LeetCode
People don't
Guardian.
watch me. People don't watch me because I'm great at leak code. I'll tell you that much. Maybe I think people watch me because maybe I'm more Like my levels are more attainable than say watching Larry NY or BetSimp,
No,
like
definitely not.
3,000 racing. Like, man,
Definitely
whenever
not.
I used to watch people like that, I'm like, man, I'll never be that good or something. So I'm like, I don't even pay attention half the time because I feel they're talking about things way above my head, you know?
Nah,
But maybe
you're
people watch me like, it's like, oh, look at this guy. This old ass guy made it to LeetCode, whatever night. I must can do it too, you know?
no boy. No, you're top 5%. You're up there. You're up there for sure. Okay.
Thanks. All right.
Well, yeah, and then people are just asking like who's your favorite streamer and will you do a collab with Pat? I feel like who's your favorite streamer? It kind of feels like a loaded
Favorite
question.
streamer? I think my favorite streamer is the streamers who stream LeetCode consistently. So I'd have to say you, Pat's Hello World, Chi Chi Impact, and like Bet Simp. I don't know. I don't watch Bet Simp because I can never understand what he's doing, man. His content is too hard for me.
Same.
That's the
No,
truth.
same. I can't
But
understand it.
like in Rosas when you're streaming, I'd tune into that. I'd lurk a lot too, man. So anybody who's streaming LeetCode and you have the camera on, so I can see your face and see how you react. I think that's a big part of my enjoyment for streaming, like watching streams, and then just to see people do and talk about LeetCode. That's what I watch. I don't watch any other streams really, man. So that's the only thing I really watch.
All right.
And
Last question.
collab, will I collab stream with Pat?
Yeah. Last
Man, if Pat
question.
wants to do a collab, for sure. All right, what's up?
That was it. I was just saying
That
last
was the
question.
last
That was
question?
that was the last question. All right, we're gonna close
Oh,
this down and oh
yeah.
yeah, no,
So
thanks for
Pat's
the
Hello World, if you're out there, you're watching this shit right now and you want to do a collab, you let me know. And we could think about something to do that's interesting. But no pressure, man. I feel like we collab just by streaming the same content, really, in some ways. And our communities are intertwined. Yours too, Real Raymond Jones. I feel
yeah.
we're
See a
all
lot of
intertwined, you know.
see a lot. All right. Cool. I'm gonna end the stream. Thanks for doing the interview, Simon, and thanks for everyone
Yeah,
who
thanks for having me, man. This was pretty fun.
yeah. Same. I thought
I
it
look
was
forward to watching the YouTube video or whatever.
yeah, and I'll send you the I'm gonna send you the files too. If you just in case you want to like use it, turn it into whatever your YouTube channel. And
Yeah,
yeah, and also
cool.
yeah, no, it was really fun talking and like you're very funny. You like the way you say like words. I don't know like your there's like I think there's a lot of like things reviewing comedy, and one day I'm gonna try doing like actually practicing comedy. Maybe I mean I don't know how I'm gonna do it though. But yeah, no, but like tonality and like the way you say words, like you can say something and that's not funny
Yeah,
in a way. Like yeah, you'd be just changing that. But I think you got that down.
interesting. I mean, I watched a lot of Dave Chappelle growing up,
Oh, okay, I see. Nice.
and I guess Chris Rock for sure. Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, two of my biggest people I watch for comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Yeah. All right.
more about that
I'm
another
gonna
time.
send everybody to Pat, and that's gonna be that.